welcome back to episode number 5. In this video we are going to look into a machine provided by Hack the Box. At the starting point, it is the very first machine known as Archetype, which is a Windows machine sitting at 10.10.10.27. We do not know more about this machine, and I will go as per routine and perform the same set of operations that I perform on every available target when I'm doing enumeration. So I will go ahead and run nmap. I will use -pn -sv and tag a. What these commands do, what these arguments do, you can learn more about it by using man and map. So whenever you're waiting for the results, try to press enter to see whatever time is remaining. Sometimes it takes more than the usual time. That's alright, but in case if you're curious or getting impatient while waiting for the results, always press enter to see how much percentage is left. It really depends on how many arguments you have provided. The less arguments you provide, let's say if I use -p dash, it's gonna scan all the ports, and on top of it, if I give it an argument -a, it's gonna take a very long time. So here we are back with our results, and our results shows that at 135 RPC is open, which definitely belongs to 139 and 445 at SMB. So running -a has its own benefits. It tells us a little bit more information about the target. As we can see here, that SMB OS discovery, and it says that it's running on Windows Server 2019 standard 17.763 version. The security of this account has been set up by, I guess, guest level, and authentication level is user, whereas message signing is disabled by default. So if you are familiar with SMB, it is the same service that has been exploited quite a lot of time in Windows 7 that rendered it the most vulnerable during the times in 2019. A lot of people, a lot of ill-intent people have gained access through these ports. So whenever you see port 139 and port 445, always remember that these two ports belong to SMB service, and there might be possibly vulnerabilities available in that machine. So next step is to enumerate further and try to get access of these machines. And whenever I see this kind of situation, whenever I find myself in these scenarios, I always tend to look towards Impacket. Now Impacket is a tool that's mostly provided with the installation of your Kali distribution, but if it is not, you can go ahead and download or clone it via GitHub. So I have kept my copy in my opt folder, and it comes with quite useful scripts over here. So what I'm going to use is SMB client over here, and I'm going to say -l. Always be straight with your slashes, because your slashes can drive you crazy if not used properly. If you're going to use forward slashes instead of backslashes, it's going to drive you crazy. So I tried to gain access without entering a password, and it tells me that there are 4 directories available. So if I say I want to get into admin directory and I don't want it to ask me any password, so I would use -n over here. That means do not ask me the password, no pass. And it tells me that access denied. No problem, we can go ahead and look into another directory which is called backups, and there we are. So the backups directory gave me the access, and it's saying to try help to get a list of possible commands. So if I try to say ls, I can find one file within this uh, directory. Can I do it cat? I cannot. That is also not possible. So what else can I do? Alright, so the current working directory is backups. So I would do this. I will try to get this file to my local directory. Okay, sometimes it gives you the error opening local file, error opening the local file, but I have run this particular machine a lot of times while presenting a different set of scenarios or explaining this device. So I have always kept a copy of this file in my local folder because I need. So when you download, when you say get pro.dts config, it's gonna download that file into your home directory. So if you cat it out, it's gonna tell you that this type of configuration is available within the file, and it's gonna give you a password and an ID. So straight up, I would copy up these details and paste in my juicy information right here. So from not knowing anything to now I know that this machine is running Windows server, as I have seen in Nmap results, and it's running somehow an SQL server. So, and this is the name of the user, SQL service. So I will go ahead and I will look into, I'll get out of it, and I will look into another script called ms SQL client.py, and I'm going to use this script right here, and I'm going to say this user right here, but before that make sure to change it to /, otherwise it will keep driving you crazy. It won't let you log in and you won't be able to do anything any further. Username to this IP, and I'm going to use tag Windows tag auth. When you do that, it's going to ask you for the password, and this is the password that we are going to use. So straight away I am in SQL Server. Now I do not know a lot of commands for SQL Server because I'm not anywhere near the expert, but one thing I know for sure is I can write help and get the helpful commands. So first thing first, I will go through each and every command, what these commands do. LCD is to change the directory. I do not know what directory currently I am in. Exit just terminates. But one thing that seems interesting is enable command shell. So I will copy it up and run it, and it says configuration option show advanced option change from 1 to 1. Probably it sometimes be on 0. So it was already running, I guess, so I did not change anything. But sometimes if these commands are not running, it will say it changed from 0 to 1. Run reconfigure statement to install. All right, so that means I have to activate this command shell, and I will say reconfigure, and now I can use this xp underscore command shell and there the command to execute any command that I would use on Windows Server. So I would say xp command shell who am I, and it tells me that I am at user level right now. What can I do further? So I will try to run some sort of exploit. Maybe uh, if I can do this command, this command right here, and write whatever command that I would normally write within Windows, then definitely I can generate a payload and try to gain access, right? So let's do that. So I have a script in my opt folder, and I have downloaded this script from GitHub. So it takes arguments and returns the value. So if I have to excuse me for that. So if I say shell python 3 shell.py, and I will have to look at my current IP address. I'm still at 14.111, so I will say that generate a payload that will redirect the remote machine to this IP and at port 9000. So I will simply copy this up, go back to my SQL server, and try to execute it. But before that, I will start a listener here. But before I do that, I will tell you that it's not gonna work because this is too much exposed. Or maybe it can work. So let's go ahead and press enter. As you can see, we haven't got any shellback, but somehow it says that this script contains malicious content and has been blocked by your antivirus software. So that's why most of the times these kind of shells do not work. But if you come up with another idea that you have to obfuscate your shells more uh, discreetly, then probably this trick can work. Or if you're lucky enough that you're working on some machine that there is no Windows Defender available, or it's not completely updated to the mark, then this thing can probably work for you. I just wanted to show you this methodology just to prove a concept. Another thing that if this thing is not working, what I will do, I will go ahead and download this netcat.executable. That is another way to gain access to this machine. So I will go ahead and I will say that get this nc64 or nc.exe and put it in your downloads folder. So next, what I'm going to do is uh, let's get out of this listener service and go to your downloads folder. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to host a server here. Just check it out if it is working or not. It is working. And I'm going back to my SQL server. Probably this is still connected, I guess so. And I will say PowerShell wget. This is the most common command to get anything on the system remotely. Sorry, 14.111 port 8000, and the file name is called nc64.exe, and I'm going to put it in temporary folder, and I'm going to say nc64.exe. Alright, this file has also been blocked by the antivirus because somehow the defender caught it up and says that this script contains malicious content. So let me go ahead and close everything up and try another trick up my sleeve. Alright, so as you have seen that we were not able to gain access to our remote computer with the help of a custom built payload as well as nc.exe, which is supposed to work like 99% of the time, but all the times Windows Defender caught up to us and blocked our payload. Anyhow, to move further, I'm going to use a different set of operations that require basic to advanced knowledge of PowerShell scripting. And here I have a PowerShell script, just for the purpose of exploiting this particular device. So this script is going to help us to generate a payload and will instruct the remote computer to connect back to us at this IP at port 443. Now to transport this file to remote computer, I'm going to start a web server on port 80. Also a listener service on port 443. And to make sure everything goes perfectly, I'm going to use uncomplicated firewall rule over here. That means we are going to allow every TCP connection from the remote computer to port 80 and 443. Now once we are done, we are going back to our SQL server and we are going to give a set of commands, and we are going to say PowerShell and we are going to invoke expression to new object, to the web client, and we are going to say that download this particular file from the web address we are going to provide, which in our case is the machine that we are using right now. And the file is called shell.ps1. Check for any kind of typos over here, and I have missed out one double quote. Alright, once we press enter, we are supposed to get a shell back on this screen. It's download string. Okay, we are connected to remote computer, so let's say dir. Alright, cool. So if I say who am I am still at user level, and I have not rooted this device until now. So to find the root access for the privilege escalation, I just say find str/si admin ***. Now to save time, I'm going to tell you this is not going to work on this machine, and instead we are going to use a different approach. So instead I would just go to I will see which directory I am in right now. I'm going to go to root, to the users folder, into app data, into the directory called roaming, Microsoft. To avoid any kind of broken links or broken shell, I prefer to go one by one, like baby steps. Otherwise I can just say type and give a full length directory path, and it's gonna give me the information too, but I like to go it like a slow way. Then we are gonna say PowerShell, and there is a folder in PowerShell called ps read line. So once we are in this directory, we are going to look into the file called console host underscore history .txt, and this file actually contains the information for the user, the administrator. So we're going to copy this information and paste it here. So that's our password, and that's the username. Now next I'm going to use psexec from impacket. So that's a psexec.py administrator at 10.10.10.27. It's gonna ask for the password. Let's apply this. Let's give it out this password to this machine. So now it's gonna upload a payload, and then it's gonna delete itself. So if I say, who am I? It's gonna say I'm authority system now. So that's how we have rooted this device. So it's not always like, the Hollywood kind of thing. You press few keys and you get into the system. If you're looking to step into penetration testing, you must have to have like a lot of courage and patience, because if I would have lost the connection on this point right now where I was going into the directory called ps readline, then I would have to go back again and connect back to the SQL server, start start hosting this file, then start the listener on this another window, and then run this command all over again, and then wait for the connection, and then go back to the directories one by one. Or I could just say type, and I could just copy this path right here, and I would say type, and I would say console history, console host history.txt, and it's gonna give me the same information, right? So it really depends on the preference, on how you want to go. I don't want to lose the connection. Now I have done, I have reached out to this point. I'm not afraid of losing the connection, but in case if I'm in the middle of something, then then you get the point what I'm trying to say. Anyways, if you like this lesson, please do leave a feedback. If you have any questions, please reach out to me directly and let me know what do you think. What do you want to know more about this machine? In case if you're wondering, this machine, as I have mentioned earlier, is part of starting point at Hack the Box. Please go ahead, make yourself an account, and try to root it yourself. You're gonna enjoy it a lot. Now there are different other ways to root this device. Please go ahead and let me know how you have rooted it. So once again, if you have any suggestions, if you have any questions, please reach out to me, and I will see you in the next lesson. Thank you.